From the Tribune News Network, this is Newsbreak. I'm Krishna Russell. Acting Parliamentary Commissioner Lovato Duncanson announced yesterday that the advanced poll for the next general election will be held on September 9th, with about 30,000 people eligible to take part. Speaking during a virtual press conference, Mr. Duncanson said about 30,000 people are eligible to cast an early vote this election cycle, including people aged 65 and older. Such persons comprise 26,000 eligible voters, he said. However, out of the 26,000, it is estimated that on the islands of Grand Bahama and New Providence, approximately 20,000 individuals will apply or could possibly apply for the advanced poll. Other eligible voters include disabled people, students studying abroad, embassy workers, staff members of the Ministry of Tourism, Bahamas Maritime Authority, High Commission, or other foreign mission staff of the Bahamas, as well as their spouses, among others. The Ministry of Health has reported 159 additional COVID-19 cases yesterday. According to the August 22nd dashboard, the country now has 17,545 confirmed cases of the virus. 117 of those new cases are in New Providence, 8 are in Grand Bahama, 15 in Abaco, 3 are in Bimini and Cat Key, 1 each is in Exuma and Eleuthera, 2 are in the Berry Islands, while 12 are in Andros. At last report, 139 people are in hospital, with 11 in the intensive care unit. This as the United States has moved its travel advisory for the Bahamas to level 4, do not travel. A U.S. Embassy press release notice yesterday said, quote, "The Department of State has no greater responsibility than the safety and security of U.S. citizens overseas. We are committed to providing U.S. citizens with the most up-to-date information to keep U.S. citizens informed when they are abroad." A level 4 travel notice means Americans are advised to avoid traveling to this country. Haiti, Kosovo, Lebanon, and Morocco were among other countries whose travel advisories were increased yesterday. The Bahamas' travel advisory was last increased to level 4 in April. Progressive Liberal Party leader Philip Brave Davis said he has written to Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis challenging him to a public debate. He said, quote, "Elections are all about choice. To make an informed choice, voters need to shine a spotlight on those who seek to represent them. They need to scrutinize closely the solutions being proposed, and they need to have faith that the promises made will be kept. So let's have a debate," he said. Mr. Davis contended that the choice of who represents them should be put squarely at the feet of Bahamians. Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar yesterday said he was hopeful more Bahamians will now get vaccinated against COVID-19 following the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's full approval of the Pfizer vaccine. Speaking to the Tribune, the minister said he believed the new approval yesterday would shore up uncertainty among many about the safety of the 2-dose vaccine. He said, quote, "I am encouraged and hopefully anyone who was deciding not to take the vaccine because it was emergency use authorization only, now that it is cleared as safe to use, will tip even more people to take the vaccine as a way to fight this virus. I am delighted to hear that because there were people wavering based on the approval, so that is good news." The minister also explains the government's rationale for implementing new measures for cruise ship passengers. The new rule, which takes effect September 3rd to November 1, states that cruise ships will not be allowed to enter a port in the Bahamas unless passengers aged 12 and older are fully vaccinated against COVID-19. Captain and crew members must also present a manifest to the port medical officer that discloses the vaccination status of all persons prior to arriving at the port, with few exceptions. Your complete news and information source, this is the Tribune News Network. In international news, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris delivered a sharp rebuke to China for its incursions in the South China Sea, warning its actions there amount to coercion and intimidation, and affirming that the U.S. will support its allies in the region against Beijing's advances. She said, quote, "We know that Beijing continues to coerce and intimidate and to make claims to the vast majority of the South China Sea. Beijing's actions continue to undermine the rules-based order and threaten the sovereignty of nations." Harris, who was on a week-long swing through Southeast Asia, declared that the U.S. stands with our allies and partners in the face of threats from China. The director of the CIA met with the Taliban's top political leader in Kabul, an official said today, as more reports emerged of abuses in areas held by the fighters, fueling concerns about Afghans' future and the fate of those racing to leave the country before the looming U.S. withdrawal. A Taliban spokesman dashed hopes that an American-led evacuation could continue beyond an August 31st deadline to allow more time for Western powers to get their citizens and vulnerable Afghans out of the country. Recent days have seen a flurry of efforts to speed the chaotic operations at Kabul's airport, where scenes of desperation have highlighted both the disarray of the American pullout and fears that the Taliban will again impose brutal rule. The Tribune's AccuWeather update, a service of Bahamas Power and Light Company. A high-pressure ridge extending across the Bahamas will keep moderate to strong breezes over the islands, while a plume of Saharan dust will allow hazy conditions to persist across the islands through tonight. There is a high risk of rip currents along east and south coast beaches. For all areas, it'll be partly cloudy, hot, and hazy, with a chance of few isolated showers. Small craft should exercise caution in the central and southeast Bahamas. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots in the northwest Bahamas and easterly at 15 to 20 knots in the central and southeast Bahamas. Seas 2 to 4 feet in the northwest Bahamas and 4 to 7 feet in the central and southeast Bahamas. We'll have a daytime high temperature of 91 degrees, a heat index of 105, and an overnight low temperature of 77. The sun will set this afternoon at 7:34 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:48. That's Newsbreak. Details of the day's top stories in the Tribune newspaper, now on the streets, or stay up to date online at Tribune242.com.